games, my guy.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Nani? It's only a game. Why do you have to be mad?
Hello, and welcome back to Games My Guy podcast, the esports podcast by fans for fans. My name is Patrick Aches Avery Kenny, and joined as always, the soy nut butter to my video game jam sandwich, Ethan Doc Goose Butler. How's it going, man?
Man, I feel better now. I won't lie. That makes me feel pretty good. That's a perfect intro, I gotta say.
Well, you know, I feel like we gotta go with our new colors, our new branding. You know, we're very peanut butter and jelly over there.
It's true. We complement each other so well. We go together as a perfect little sandwich for you to enjoy on maybe an afternoon lunch and a light snack, perhaps. Even.
Yes, yeah,
but maybe
even
not breakfast. We're more of an afternoon snack. And
we are
late night snack.
But I will have to say that I did eat before the recording a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so that's kind of where I got the but I did have it for breakfast, so it was a bit of a double whammy.
That's fair. I had full foods today. I actually made good food.
Oh.
Usually I only have like those, like, you know how you can get the oatmeals from Costco, like the big box of the mini packets.
Yes.
Comes with different flavors, but I mixed 3 of them together.
Ooh.
And like, because I'm a wild and I like to live dangerously. So every so often you get a little apple chunk and say, "Oh,
that's a little cheeky apple chunk."
This is a good way to start the day for me.
Well, I mean, it's a great way to start the day, and I think another great way to start the day is to talk about some video games, and I'm talking about the final season day of the Overwatch League, week 29. It's bittersweet, you know. This podcast kind of started around when this season of the Overwatch League started, so I mean, it's kind of a cute little bookend for the Overwatch League.
Yeah, it's true. We've been here through it all. We've been here for the home stands. I think we've been here for the online play, for the goofs, the gaffs. The
Sideshow losing his
yes, indeed. Praise be that man. He never believed in Paddington and the boys. Even when they signed KSP, I think he was still like, oh, maybe like 11th.
Yeah.
Jokes on you, Eggman. They're number 8. Shave your head.
God.
Just say the symbol, you know.
Yes, yeah. Going back to the Eggman, I think, or I also saw Magneto, which I really, really liked from seeing him.
He's so evil.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was a pretty cool thing that happened. Valiant finishing off the season pretty well. We had some pretty bright moments in this last week for week 29, and we had the last Toronto Defiant game of the regular season against the Dallas Fuel, which was, you know, it was a 3-1 for Dallas, but at this point, how could you not love the Defiant boys doing their best? 3-1.
They just try so hard.
They do.
They work. They're there. There's a bunch of good lads. Kriv and Jillies are eating lunch all the time, and it's on camera, and people love it.
Yeah,
they're making foods. They got a new streaming lab. It's like completely funded by Canon, so it's got like a bunch of high tech cameras and shit, and it's real cool. It's good for them. So they got that going for them.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Canon finally putting their money where their mouth is. They've been a long time sponsor for Toronto Defiant.
They got the boys like the little camera. They gave everyone like cameras and everything. It's like so like they treat the lads well, which is nice.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I think TD Bank actually just joined the Defiant as a sponsor.
Well,
which is pretty sweet.
I bank with them. That's pretty sick.
Me too. Wait, are we affiliated with the Defiant?
We're practically sponsored by Toronto Defiant. Practically,
and we sponsor them with our business. So I feel like at the very least, maybe like a jersey, maybe a virtual hug from Surefor. I don't know, like just the little things. You know?
Yeah, just put us on the roster. I think that'd be good too.
You don't have to play us; it's fine. Like we can just be there. Can we be in the team photos? Just put us in the back. You'll barely know we're there. Just us in the back.
Yeah. We're not wearing Toronto Defiant jerseys. It's just like everyone.
We made our own.
Yeah, everyone in uniform, and we like have white T-shirts with marker on them.
Little T. We're here.
Defiance spelt wrong. It's perfect. Oh man. But yeah, no, the final game for Toronto Defiant, it's a big lose, a big hard lose against the Dallas Fuel. And it's, it's hard to harp on teams just because it's the beginning of the postseason, end of the regular season. But the meta was pretty solid. Like we saw a lot of dive tank metas going around, a lot of Ashe, a lot of Sombra. Sombra, I think, was played 100% in the APAC region, which was pretty crazy. So
she got a lot of play in NA as well.
Yeah,
like she was heavily featured in NA.
Yeah, so we had we had Logix, we had Zik was in for the Sombra play. And we had the lovely boy Cruz playing Mercy, which was a new sight for me, at least. I know that guy for his BAP and for his Lucio. I've never seen him on Mercy before in my life.
It's been a while since I've seen Mercy. Maybe back like 2018 World Cup, maybe.
Yeah,
like, this is when I saw him. Maybe I can't even think he was playing Mercy then. I think it might have still been Lucio, but I feel like there's a clip they've used of him playing Mercy, or maybe he was a Genji chasing a Mercy. I'm not sure.
Sure,
but
yeah.
He was there at Mercy was in the clip in some way, and that's what matters. But Cruz, yeah, you had Kariv to bless that boy. I think the meta, if it leads towards like on a Mercy, if Cruz can be more consistent with his Mercy, like his survivability is huge with that character. Obviously. Yeah, and so if he can do that, like Kariv could honestly carry us.
For sure. Yeah,
as we said, we're on
us
the team.
Together. Yes.
To like surprising results to this in short.
For sure.
Toronto, Toronto plays in the first round of the tournament. When did they play? Let me look it up.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the things that I was noticing with Toronto, like one of the biggest things, at least when I was, because it's so easy to look at a player who hasn't played a champion in a long time, and I was really focused on Cruz and Nevix, but I'll get to Nevix in a minute. But Cruz, his decision making just in Valkyrie was something that I noticed a lot, especially on Busan and like in the downtown section. He went for a res on Logix when Kariv was literally dying behind him, like actually like in peril, like dive tanks on him, all this stuff. And he decided not to help Kariv and decided to go for resing Logix, which I mean, in the long run is a bad choice just because, 2 supports is better than 1. And it's much stronger to have your supports up versus your DPS up. But it was just little stuff like that. And I found that Nevix, he was really playing away from his team as well, especially on those control maps.
Nevix is one of those players I think we've harped on him a bit just for his position, because sometimes he'll just be off in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like he'll just be like the team's on point and Nevix is in their back line for some reason.
Yeah.
And that type of thing. So while he's a fairly consistent player in terms of what he brings to the table, he doesn't make, like we talked about his positioning mistakes, but other than that, he plays fairly consistently.
Yeah.
And he just sometimes he's never gonna be the player that's like, oh my god, Nevix, look at this fucking god.
Yeah.
He's like, look at this good boy.
Yeah.
He's doing work. Good man. He does a firm handshake, not a fist bump type of deal.
Totally.
I think that makes sense.
It does. Well, like you if you look at some other like star quality flex or not flex, off tanks. Yeah, you look at people like Gargoyle. You look at people like Gargoyle or Hawk. Those are 2 players that have a huge impact on their team, and that was just something that we were kind of missing in this game and also in this season from Nevix. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens after the playoffs. I know going into the playoffs, they're probably not going to make too many changes, but depending on what the meta looks like and depending on what Toronto comes prepared with going into it, we may see a lot of the same, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, like you said, if the meta, depending on what the meta goes into the playoffs, because there's a new patch, certain heroes like Orisa and Sigma have been nerfed to a certain degree, and like Orisa's seen less and less play time, at least on the ranked ladders, but that's hard to correlate between that and Overwatch League play. But if the meta leans towards like on Mercy, I think like we've talked about, Cruz can clean up certain moments, like you said, his decision making. If he can work on that a bit, which he seems like a very smart young man.
Yeah, and I know
he's about our age.
Yeah, but I also know Cruz is an integral part of their shot calling. So I mean, like there's other facets that he fills for that team. It's just unfortunate that sometimes the gameplay doesn't really show what he actually does for the team. So I mean, there's that. But the one thing I wanted to say, if there was like a moment in the Fuel Toronto game that kind of encompassed what that game was like, it was Note's remake kill on Nevix on Route 66 in that like final moment. It was just the casters didn't notice. They just kind of threw it away. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, well that just embodies what this game was.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
Yeah, so
remake kill. No, never. Like Note's actually been having a really good season, but still, never.
It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch it happen. So
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Like, I know like Dallas has had a rough time recently, but they've looked a bit more competitive at times since the change up. And like Crimzo, people were underrating Crimzo so much this year. But Crimzo's been like quietly so good for the Fuel. And so keeping him, especially with all the things he's going through, like he's been playing really well. And so I think that was going to be a tough matchup no matter what. Like only God, he's even playing on high pain is really good. Like Doha outplayed Zik on Sombra. It's hard to dance around that. Like,
totally.
Doha's really good at Sombra. You can't really, that's his thing. That's back when he was an Element Mystic. Like one of the things they won the Gauntlet with was Doha, Sombra, Sparkle, Doomfist. So it was like this the Hat Fist.
Yeah.
Which is something oh my god, I would love to see a Hat Fist in fucking playoffs this time. I'd love it. It would be really good for Toronto if Surefour played again. I don't think he will, but like, oh my god, like fucking Surefour agilities, Sombra, Doomfist would be mwah. They've done it before and it was magnificent.
Yeah,
magnificent.
Yeah, and we've praised the dive setup from Toronto Defiant so much on this podcast. I would love to see some hack fist with a monkey and a diva. I think that would be a really, really great comp for us.
But who do you play on monkey, Beast or Numlock? Because Beast has been known to be one of his better heroes.
Totally. I mean,
or his best.
I mean, obviously, Numlocked is Toronto Defiant's guy right now, because they had Numlock playing Winston in the game against Fuel also. So it feels like they're leaning towards Numlocked more so than Beast. I don't know why, to be honest, because I agree. I think Beast should be playing on those Winston. If you know you're going into a game and the setup that you want to do is dive, then I think it's pretty clear that you put Beast in. But it seems like Numlocked is their guy, so we'll have to see how that develops in the future for them. Yeah, but I mean, with the season coming to a close, I think it's important that we talk a little bit about some of our favorite moments from the season. You know, I'm pretty nostalgic about it just because we started the podcast when this whole thing was going on.
And
but
it's really helped. This has made us real. It just feels good. It's been really helped to even make the season even better.
Yeah.
Given the hard times, the good times, we were together through it all.
Mm-hmm.
Watching, laughing, crying
mostly, crying a lot, crying.
There's a lot of crying, but we're Canadians. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's all. Let's make that a new stereotype of Canadians. It's what we do.
Yeah, it's 2020. Grown adults are allowed to cry at video games.
Yes, thank you very much. It's about time someone said it. And it's had to come from James, my guy. If we're going to be the ones to push that narrative, damn right we're going to do it.
It had to.
But it's been a real treat. And like you said, it's been a wild season.
It has. It truly has. And I mean, there's some great moments that we can talk about. I think the first one would be Surefour Genji. I think that is a universally loved.
Genji.
Wow. Super Genji.
Oh,
this walk didn't help me this morning. Super Genji. Yeah, I mean, like that is a universally loved moment from this season.
It really brought the whole fandom together.
Yeah,
just rallying around this super humble, kind of quiet, shy boy, not real a big talker, just coming in. He usually plays a main tank sometimes, But then he's just like, yo, I'm going to play Genji. Hey, Krusty, can I play Genji? And then just bothered his way into the lineup and played better than other people. He outplayed other Genji.
Yeah, they won with him as a DPS player, which
I don't think he's lost a map as Genji, if I'm being quite honest. The Shocker undefeated with Super Genji.
That's filthy. That's a filthy stat. But yeah, so like it's easy to hate the number one team in your region. Like it's so easy to be like, oh, this team, I hate them just because they're the best. But Super on Genji made everyone love San Francisco in different ways, I think.
Love them or hate them, you had to watch them.
You had to watch. You had to watch because it was
see what would happen.
Exactly.
They had to bring on another player to play Genji until they realized Rascal can play Genji. Somehow they forgot.
They were just like going through their pages, and then like Rascal shook the dust off him and was like, "Hey, I can play." And they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you can come in."
He's just like taking a nap on the beanbag. Like, Genji. Oh no, I can play Genji.
Yeah.
And then he yelled at Bird Ring, and just for some reason, because I love hearing him yell Bird Ring.
Yes.
And then here we are.
Yeah, that was.
Rusty, you need a Genji player? Did I hear that correctly? Rascal, he's just like, oh, let me just crack open a few.
Yeah.
A couple brews, and I'll just I'll go for it. I'll give it a go.
I'll be ready to go. Yeah. Super warmed up the seat for him. But yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. One of my favorite like personal moments from the season was staying up late to watch Chengdu Hunters every night. Just because I always knew that I was going to get something fun. I always knew it was going to be not what I normally expect. And I always knew that I was going to get a little bit of ball. And so I always looked forward to the Hunters games every time. So fun to watch.
They really are a treat. I think we've established they're both of ours favorite APAC team.
100%.
I do have a spot in my heart for Hangzhou as well, but Chengdu is just one of those teams you can't not love because they're both the worst and the best team in APAC at the same time.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. You never know what you're going to get. And so it's exciting. Like with certain games, all right, X team is going to destroy Z team.
Yeah.
And we say Z because this is the Queen's English we're speaking. But with Chengdu, it's like, what's going to happen? Like,
exactly.
Are they going to lose 3-0 to like the Spitfire?
Yeah. Or are
they going to take it to Shanghai? I don't know. Anything could happen. With
like a ball Farah. Like, who cares? That's what Hunter says. That's their team logo. It's who cares?
Who cares? Fuck you. It's ball time.
Yeah. We don't care. We pay Meng the big bucks to play ball, and that's it.
We signed this man for $3 million a year for the next 5 years. We're getting our money's worth.
Yeah. And with everything going online, it was a little overwhelming, like in the days to like watch everything just because everything was happening. So it was kind of nice to have APAC separated and like, I don't know, it just made it had something for me to look forward to if I was ever staying up late or I was waking up early or something.
Yeah. Like one day I remember I didn't mean to wake up this early. So I had to work at like 10 a.m. But I woke up at 7 by accident. And I just couldn't fall back to sleep. So I was like, all right. So I rolled over because I think NYXL was playing the Dynasty. And I was like, this is nice. I'm kind of awake.
You rolled
over
lying
in bed on my phone.
It was a good time, man. Yeah, no, those were some good games. Great. Yeah. And
it's allowed for a nice debate too. Because although some people take it a little far and they just like trying to treat one region's better than the other. And it's such a hard discrepancy because you can argue that NA has worse teams. You're right. Because one, they have all of the bad teams. Or except for like London. But like London's not even the worst. London's actually shown to be all right. But it's just NA has more, there's a bigger discrepancy in NA because they have more teams to pull from. Whereas Shanghai is a much smaller team pool.
Yeah.
But NA has the top in NA is more competitive, you could argue.
I'd say so. Well, there's definitely more teams at the top for sure. Yeah. With APAC, it's like Charge and Shanghai and like maybe Dynasty sometimes. And then that's
NYXL
occasionally. Yeah, occasionally. But then they'll lose 3-0 to Seoul Dynasty. So it's like...
Or the Hunters, because it happens. Like we said, anything can happen with the Hunters.
Yeah. That's a team that I hope keeps what they're doing, you know? Like I hope they keep their mentality. I hope that they keep their like ingenuity in the game. Because the reason I say this is because week 29, the APAC region was just hard mirrors all the way around. It was Winston versus Winston the entire set. Like that was it. So it was a little stagnant this week, but
yeah,
it made me appreciate the Hunters more from watching week 29.
That's the beauty of the Hunters. They always add a little spice. Like last year, it was running whatever the fuck they wanted during goats, and somehow making it work, or playing goats and almost beating the Titans.
Yeah,
and that was wild. It was one of my favorite games of all time, and they're just like you said. They're a team that they're a much needed breath of fresh air when the meta feels a bit stagnant.
Totally.
They bring that entertainment value. They bring that excitement. They bring that uncertainty, which is really must be really painful if you're a Hunters fan sometimes. So you're like, oh, I don't know, they're gonna win or lose. It could go either way easily every game.
Yeah.
But unless you're like me, who's team when you cheer for a team, it's just like, well, they may take a point.
Who knows?
That's good for me.
They might get their ultimates this round.
Yeah, well, let's not get too hasty here. So that's a lot to ask. And but yeah, some other favorite moments. One of my favorites, obviously, I think, was the NYXL homestand back in February. I was able to go to it.
Back when we could go to stuff. Yes,
we could leave our homes.
Yeah, this was one of our first episodes. We talked about your adventure at the NYXL homestand.
That was a damn good time, man. Like I flew in 8 p.m. I got into the hotel at 8 p.m. The party was starting at like 8:30, and so I rolled in the shower, rinsed myself off from the flight, booked it, didn't even eat, so I thought I was gonna eat there, and then the kitchen closed, so I just started drinking, and played me and another writer from the Dame House named Brock, amazing dude, amazing writer. Everyone should check his stuff out. He covers the Boston Uprising. He and we met up there because he was the only guy I knew we were talking on Twitter. Like, hey, you here? Yeah, I'm here. And we ended up playing Overwatch, a little tipsy. Met Pine, but had one of my best games on Zarya, more importantly. But it's just you meet so many amazing people, and like the energy in their room is like online games. Obviously, yeah, it's what had to be done because of the situation with COVID, and that's super shitty. But it's amazing they were able to keep the league going the way they have.
Yeah,
but
it was really important too.
It was so important.
Like if I didn't have Overwatch League, the quarantine would be a very different story. You know what I mean? Like it would, it was just something to look forward to. But yeah, like homestands is something that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. Hopefully next year.
I really hope so. Cause
yeah,
like the online play is great, but it's nothing like the energy in that room. Like even when it was just like Toronto, I was like, I think there was another Toronto fan in like the way in the back. I didn't see them, but I'm pretty sure I heard them at one point. But because it was just me and then like New York fans and like 2 London fans. And so it was pretty sweet. And they cheer for Toronto. But like, man, when New York came out and like they had this hype montage, oh my God, like you felt the bass in your soul. And like when Jonah came out, like because they had Pocket doing the announcing, holy fuck. Everyone went wild. It was crazy. So that type of thing is sometimes super excited to see once things are able to do that again. Because Overwatch's greatest strength has been as, in my opinion, a live event. One of the greatest strengths, because they know how to really hype up these events. They know how to make the people engaged and play to the local crowds as well. And so if they can bring that back in some capacity, I'm not sure how the 2021 season is going to look. If it's going to keep the region separate, which a lot of people think is a really good idea. But I don't know how it's going to go, but I hope Homestand's a part of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, before COVID happened, you and I were supposed to go to the Toronto homestand.
We were? Oh.
That would have been amazing. That was going to be a whole episode. We had it all planned out. Anyways.
We were going to bring like little show cameras. We were going to do like interviews there. It was going to be well, vlog.
Yeah. Vlogging. Yeah, it would have been on our YouTube channel. Man, this is a little bit of like how the sausage is made conversation. But yeah, that would have been a very fun time. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they're going to put something together. Toronto, like Defiant, they're really great to their fans as well, because they had the fan appreciation event, right? Like a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was a whole weekend.
It was a whole weekend, yeah.
Meet and greets, digitally. Yes. I don't know why I can't say that word, but we'll fix that in post.
We'll fix it in post. I'm gonna leave it.
But I know we will. But no, yeah, I like that how the team actually cares about their fans. Like they had like Surefour, Mangachu, and I think they were out meeting fans on like from a social distancing way, of course. But they were like a t-shirt gun. I think they were shooting shirts to people at the houses and like just waving. It was really nice of them to see the appreciation, because I think the Defiant, like their management really cares about the community and their fans, and so they're great in that way. So I hope, and the fans are very grateful for that. Yeah. We are.
In Toronto, I mean, not to toot our own horn, but in Canada, it's the biggest city for esports right now. So it's cool that the Defiant like know their audience, and they also understand like they're a part of something really, really big, which is esports in Canada. Yeah. So it's cool that they really support their fans and doing all that, and hopefully they'll get a couple more wins next season. That'd be nice. And hopefully, nice. I mean, the playoffs are going to be fun. I'm really excited. Just based on how we've been playing, I'm hopeful that we make it to round 2, but I mean, we'll see who our competitors are, you know what I mean?
It's true. Once the games are decided and once we figure out who Toronto's opponent will be, I can better theorize how they will do. But you know, anything can happen in Overwatch League. Like, and stranger things have happened. Like
it's true. So,
could they win? Maybe. I was talking about this to our dear friend Larry the other day. I said, well, how wild would it be that somehow the Boston Uprising, this is a bit of a change, somehow went on a fucking tear in the playoffs and just won the championship after winning only 2 games? How wild. The people would be so mad. But me and the other, like there's like a few of us, the Boston fans, would be like, I'll be so happy.
Yeah.
But, like, I know it's like the 1 in a million chance, but like it's so crazy.
I think that would be the craziest esports story if it actually did happen. Like Shanghai winning their first game, pretty hype. But if Boston did a full run in the playoffs to win, I think that's unprecedented. I don't think that's ever happened. And to quote one of my favorite Dota commentators, that has never happened in the history of Overwatch League. So good. Really bad impersonation, but the energy is there. And speaking of energy, I know it happened like last week or the week before or whatever, but I just want to say one of my favorite things about this year have been just the Los Angeles Valiant period.
Yes,
the
100%.
Hype, like
I'm with you 100%.
Just like everything from like how they've tried to adapt themselves to the game, adapting to the meta, working really, really hard on trying to get past these teams that they've been having such a problem with. And then it really ties a bow for me just seeing their reactions in the post-game videos. Like just seeing them super pumped, super excited, seeing players like McGravy, who has just been grinding his whole life to be here and like realizing his dream and like being in the moment. I think that we're missing a lot of what esports is, which is like the live events and the hype around it. But moments like that just bring me right back to it. Just make me fall in love with esports all over again.
And their underdog story has been one of my favorite things throughout the whole season has been watching the growth of the Valiant. Like they came out swinging actually right away. Like they had the hype. This was before they start playing Dreamer primarily. They had the most hyper aggressive main tank outside of Bumper in Gig.
Oh yeah, Gig.
Rolling it. Like press W for Gig was the main thing that Brigade was going on for a bit. And then just it was so good. That boy just rolls on stage, giant eyebrows, just like going like this, and like trying to add the crowd on. It was when they beat Dallas at the homestand.
Right.
Like, oh, what a treat. It was so good.
How could I have forgotten about Gig? Oh my goodness.
He's a real good boy. You know, I think he got married. Maybe.
Yeah, he's not playing anymore.
I think he's still on the team. And but like you know, he's a married man. He's a devoted husband, I think. And so it was just that first game with the Valiant with Gage and how they come from actually kind of giving McGravy like a 6K bomb in like week 1 to playing how good Dreamer ended up becoming, because I think they signed Gage because Dreamer maybe was struggling in scrims. And so that's when they were trying to see who would work for the team. But then seeing the rise of Dreamer as well from like Australian contenders to like Overwatch League star has been a real treat. And the way they're so likable. Like you said, the way they react after they win games, like the way people predicted them to be, like the whole copy pasta was like, I'd like to see this team get out of open division. Well, they got out. Didn't tell you that much. And they've been great to watch, especially the games I'm going to tie this together against the Florida Mayhem. I think the LA Valiant versus Florida Mayhem has been one of the greatest. It's weird to call it a rivalry, but one of the greatest competitions throughout the whole year. I love watching the Valiant play Mayhem because they're so kind of like evenly matched. Yeah, that could go either way depending on the meta.
Totally. And the games have gone back and forth, and they've always been high scoring games as well. So like that's been super hyped to watch. Yeah, and like I don't know. I like Florida a lot. I do. But the Valiant story arc is just, I'm here for story arcs. So like the Valiant story arc is like mwah, just like chef kiss. I love it so much. I love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they were what Atlanta should have been this year. I think if
right.
Yeah, because like Atlanta, they're always, you know, in the time of Baby Bay, RAP, off to Valorant. We all miss you, even though I'm not an Atlanta fan. I still miss you. It's just like Atlanta was always known as that energetic, over the top, trash talking kind of team. And it was just nice for someone to kind of fill that role, even in the restrictions of COVID. It was nice to see some competitions, some people really caring about what they're doing. But yeah,
and there was some good trash talk. Like, how can we forget? Actually, talk about best season moments from what was it? Lastro, aka Set's Big Dick. What one man getting fined $1,000 for typing Set Big Dick in the chat.
I think Sex Big Dick is the title of this episode. Sex.
Set sells, baby. We gotta bring in the viewers.
Yeah.
I remember when it happened, and everyone's like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
And that's also around the time I think the Valiant head assistant coach Hunter, after the Shats, after they beat the Mayhem one time with Shats on Tracer. He's like, if you ever want to know how Shaq's dick tastes, just ask the starting sits for the Mayhem.
Holy shit.
He deleted the tweet, but it was, oh my god. I saw it.
Oh.
It was one of my favorite things I've ever seen on Twitter. Is it fucking coach?
That's some Twitter spice. Holy mackerel. Another one of my favorite Twitter moments was when Philly beat San Francisco, and then Carpe tweeted out "easy as fuck," F-U-K.
Oh, Carpe, what some cheeky little bastard!
Easy as fuck.
I can imagine just him and Poto just sitting together when he's typing that. Poto's like,
"Yeah, it's good. Send it."
Yeah, Carpe, it's so funny.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna look at any team in review, I think we gotta talk about our boys Toronto just a little bit. I mean, I think the greatest moment for Toronto was the opening game. Honestly, I think
you would say this because I want to say I think the defining highlight reel moment for Toronto Defiant was Rialto. No. It was Havana, wasn't it? Rialto.
They played
Rialto,
on
right?
They played on Havana, and they also played on Eichenwald. Eichenwald, I remember very, very well, just because Kareev slept soon. I'm pretty sure he was playing Widowmaker. It was awesome. It was one of my favorite moments.
I gotta find this because I remember trying to watch, because I think I've been called out because I got the map wrong once. And someone's like, "Hey, is this map?" I was like, "Oh no, it's fucked up." But I know. It was Havana when Logix was just like, Etsy was really, everyone was hyping Etsy just how good he was doing, and Logix is just like, all right, kid, you want to come into my house and try and show me up at my own game? Not today, my friend. No, sir.
The Widow snaps. That's right.
Yeah. but like on third point, actually was a little sneaky little spot, and Lodge is just like, not today, my friend. Grappled up, looked immediately down, flicked, headshot, and landed. Everyone, I remember I lost my voice in the fucking auditorium because I was screaming so loud. I couldn't believe what I just seen.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, you filthy bastard!" That was that is truly one of the moments where you're like, "All right, yeah, Mr. Logitz is here. It's not Logitz, Mr. Logitz has arrived."
That's when "Thank You, Mr. Logix" started trending again too, which was sick.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that was a sick moment. Yeah, it was just that whole set was awesome. Like, and it was very one-sided. And it was against the Paris Eternal, which, I mean, turned out to not be a bad team. They turned out to be they won they won a tournament, they won a lot of regular season games. So it was cool to see them win against a team that went on so far. But I mean, that was the brightest spot for me. Was the beginning, and then the rest of it was a mix of fun and games, I guess.
I think the only time that came close was it was an ultimately in a loss against, I believe, the Philadelphia Fusion when they did the happiness we talked about with Beast playing Winston, and they just were destroying them. Like Sureforce Sombra was perfect, Doomfist coupled with agilities on the Doomfist. It was just nice to see like Team Canada back together. And all we need now, to be quite honest, actually, I just thought of this. Mangachu is technically still on the roster. Bring us the Mangarisa. Bring that boy out. Just have the most Canadian lineup. Is it going to be successful? Probably not. But wouldn't it be fun to see?
Will it be what we've all been waiting for as Toronto fans? Yes. Yes, it would be.
100%. Will it be successful? No. But it's what we've wanted since Sureforce joined the team. Exactly.
It would be nice. It'd be nice to see everyone in the playoffs, but we'll see what we get going in.
Yes.
Do you have any other thoughts about this season?
It's been a rough one. I'm going to be quite honest. For most of the teams I support, from having the second worst record in the regular season in the history of the Overwatch League for my sweet Boston boys, despite 2 wonderful wins, and to the team I write about and I'm a fan about collapsing before our very eyes and rebuilding into a very lovable team, which I even love even more, maybe because I love the players.
Totally.
To one of my favorite teams, Atlanta, having a very disappointing season. I've been rough. It's been rough, man. I just picked certain teams. It's like, yeah, they seem cool, and then I have the jerseys, and I'm committed here. Man, like my best performing team this year was the Valiant, to be honest. So that I support. Because people say you can't support 20 teams. Like I firmly say I support Boston, and then Toronto is the number 2. But I also cheer for a couple other teams just because I like the players and whatnot. But man, like I've had of the top 5 teams, I support primarily 5 teams, and of those 5, one of them had a really good season. I would say, one exceeded expectations.
Well, it and like for you for following 5 teams and having 4 of your teams not do super well, that can drain on you.
It's been rough, man. I think Boston can win all the games they play, but it gets harder and harder on occasion. I won't lie.
That's true.
Believe. I never lose hope, but I just feel the players just look very sad, and I don't like to see it because I know you don't hear Fusions talking as much at times, and please don't break his spirit. I think if they get a strong coaching staff and upper management in place for 2021, Fusion should pull a Ben Best, actually, and be a very strong main tank again with the right support in place.
Totally. Yeah. And Fusion's, he's been around for a long time, and his, skill ceiling, I don't think has been met yet.
I don't think so either.
It's just the unfortunate circumstance on being on a team that's not doing well and hasn't been doing well for a while, which is too bad. But you did mention Vancouver, and you've written about Vancouver. You've been a writer for a gaming house for them for a long time. I think, even though they're 18th in the total standings, they're 3rd worst in terms of wins and losses. There's a lot to be said about Vancouver. I think Vancouver, I see Vancouver in a lot of us, everything was going great. We're a great team. We're all this great stuff. And then all of a sudden, bam, everything bad happens. Nothing goes your way. Where the whole team gets switched up, and then they make the best of it, and they did what they came in here to do. And it gave a lot of players like Rolf, who's been hard stuck in challengers for the longest time, Karkar, who's just another big grinder who's been trying to get in the Overwatch League. They gave us some really great names like Shockwave and Dalton, who are turning out to be some pretty high caliber DPS who are going to get picked up for sure somewhere. Hopefully they stay. Hopefully they stay.
They will. I think if Vancouver's smart, just if I may interrupt, they will keep Shockwave and Dalton, build the team around them primarily. TSA, actually, I would argue as well, but primarily, if you can only pick two, it'd be Shockwave and Dalton.
Sure.
And this may be a bit of a controversial statement, to be quite honest. The DPS right now on the Titans are arguably better than they were before. Not for projectile, but like Hacksaw notwithstanding.
Right. Okay.
If I was to put if we Dalton take Shockwave against Stitch and Xiaomansu, I'm going to bet on Dalton and Shockwave to win that duel.
Interesting. I was gonna say, if you're comparing Shockwave to Hacksaw, I was gonna.
No. I needed to make that very distinct.
Yes.
Difference, because I think in terms of projectile and like flex DPS, no, Hacksaw is better than Dalton in that regard. Mostly because why? Dalton's not a flex DPS. He's been forced to play roles he's not. Is Dalton a Genji player? No, he's not. Is Dalton all these other things? No. He's had to learn these things because Vancouver, in their great infinite wisdom, didn't pick up a flex DPS.
Right.
But which is fine. They have Shockwave and Dalton. They're great. The reason I said that, in terms of a hit stand duel, say if I'm putting, let's say, Dalton on McCree versus Xiaomansu, I'm taking this 2-tap Dalton over the Fan the Hammer Man every time. And Widowmaker battle, Stitch versus Shockwave. I'm taking Shockwave. Stitch is not a bad player, and he's had some success in the past, but man, come on.
Yeah.
I don't think Shockwave would win that duel most of the time.
No, and we have yet to see how good Shockwave is going to be. Because just imagine him on a team like Dallas, he would totally change the way that team plays, or even like a lower team like Houston would totally benefit from a new DPS. I think
interesting with him on Houston, actually.
Yeah,
it's all depending what Linkser does, because I think Linkser's actually had a resurgent year. He's been very strong. Like, one of the strongest parts of Houston this year has been their DPS line. It's been Linkser and Dante actually popping the hell off. It's kept them competitive.
Totally.
What has kept Houston down has been, okay, no offense to Hydration. I think he's been playing very well. Just the man's not a main tank, and he's had to fill that role. I think the best thing that Houston, if we're going to talk about Houston just for a brief little bit, because we'll do more off-season stuff later on.
Yes.
But for Houston, I think, you need to sign an actual main tank if Muma is not going to play, or if you can't find a way to improve Muma. So you need to sign a main tank who can play alongside Meko and have Hydration go back to being the flex DPS he actually is. Because he's a very strong DPS player, but he's been forced to play tank. So you could have, in terms of Genji, Hydration's really good. Hydration's really good Doomfist. And so I think have him play what you signed him for.
And he would have done so well in this meta too if they had a main tank. If Hydration was playing Genji, remember that time when it was just Genji all the time? That would have been
Dante's that time even, but because Dante's not that good. You need Dante on the other heroes. The problem with Houston is Dante can't play everything at once.
Right.
He can play everything, just not at once. So I don't think they'll keep Blase. I don't know. I like Blase a lot. I think he's actually quite strong on certain heroes, but I don't know why they signed him if they signed Hydration in the long run. Because he's like diet Hydration a bit. I'm not trying to be insulting to him. I think he's good, but it's just I'm going to take Hydration over. They paid Hydration a lot of money. I think they told her from the Gladiators.
Yes, lots and lots. Same with Dante.
Yeah, Dante.
Yeah, Houston back in the day paid some pretty big premium to get those guys over. So
good call. They've got a solid support line. Their DPS could be really strong. I really hope Linkser stays. I think he might, to be honest, because he's been having a very strong year, and he's shown no signs of. He's been playing Overwatch, I think, more on stream as well. I don't know why he'd go with Valorant at this point. I think the time for him to go with Valorant may have passed.
Totally.
And so sign Linkser. His biggest problem in his entire career was consistency, and he's been consistent this year.
Totally.
enable him.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's going to be a lot of shifts coming in the postseason, which we will talk about.
Excited.
Yeah, we're going to talk about in a future episode. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this podcast episode.
True.
So if you like what you're hearing, please follow us on Spotify. And if you would rather watch the podcast episode rather than listen to it, we are also on YouTube at Games My Guy. And we also have a very popular Twitter channel now.
It's blowing up a bit.
Yeah, so we're at Games My Guy on Twitter, which is curated by the lovely Ethan Goose Butler. We're doing good over there. We're doing good.
I think we're at 62 now.
No, 62 followers. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're at 62 followers.
Nice.
Doing not too, considering we were at like 48, I think, a week ago.
I think we should do a some sort of giveaway / celebration for 69 followers.
Oh, if we don't, it's wasting our. What are we doing here?
What are we doing exactly?
We'll do a shirt. How about this? We'll do a shirtless drunk stream.
Don't make promises you can't keep, Ethan.
I'll come to Toronto and just sit beside you.
That's
just
true.
And with Callie judging us from the off screen.
Perfect.
We sit here just talking about games.
I love it. But yeah, if you want to email us, we are also at gamesmyguypodcast@gmail.com. So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next podcast.